right, welcome to week 4 of English at CVLCC for 8th grade. These are the things that you're going to be doing this week. Pretty similar to other weeks before now. So we're doing the screencast right now. And then on Wednesday we'll have a live class again. We're going to do a quick write during the screencast. And the sort of lesson within this video is on using sentence, phrase, word to deepen analysis. More on that when we get there. This week, in terms of your reading, you're going to have 3 different texts to read, and you have options for all of them so that you can pick something that most interests you, that appeals to you, and then you will write your blog post. We will get to that when we get to after the video. What you want to do is go to View and then Show Speaker Notes. So if you didn't have that, the slide would look like that, bigger, but it's important to get those notes. Now to the quick write. So choose one of these 3. I'm going to read them out loud because I know they're a little bit wordy, but I want to get you thinking. Okay. Have you experienced prejudice because of the color of your skin, because of speaking Spanish, because of your culture or your background? Tell the story. How did that affect you? Or 2, how do you think your experience in schools is different from your parents or your grandparents? Explain and try to list both positives and negatives. How do you think school is better now than it was maybe for your parents or grandparents? How do you think maybe it's somehow negative, maybe more stressful? And then 3, if you pursued a college degree, so just kind of saying like whether or not you're thinking about that, like if you were to get a college degree, how might you be able to help your family and community? How would having that degree, how would going to college and graduating from college, how might that make the world better? Or how could you make the world better if you did that? So pause the video and go ahead and do that quick write. So I just wanted to lay out the learning goals for this week. So if you're wondering, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Like, here are the goals. So the things that we want to accomplish this week is we're going to learn just a little bit about Sylvia Mendez, who fought for equality in education for Latinx kids. We're going to analyze text by using sentence, phrase, word. So I want to take a thinking routine that you're already pretty familiar with, but I want to show you in a really explicit, like a clear way, how you can use that and apply the thinking from the thinking routine to analytical writing. A goal is to read 3 different types of texts that all relate to overcoming obstacles, learning, inequality, things along those lines. And then finally, you're going to put that all together in your blog post in which you analyze and reflect on the reading, on your life, right? Because the quick write, you just reflected on your life. You're going to put your life, the world today, and those 3 readings kind of all together. Find what like the common message is, and that's going to be your blog post. More on the actual prompts when we get there. But first, let's learn about Sylvia Mendez.
We would all be in the same bus, the other twin, and they would drop us off in front of the white school, this beautiful manicured lawn school with palm trees and a wonderful playground right there in the front with swings. And then we had to walk to the Mexican school. The school books were all handed down, so they'd be torn. And we were being taught how to be good maids. We were being taught how to clean, how to sew, how to quilt. We weren't being taught academics. As a 9-year-old girl, all I was thinking is, when we went to court, that they were fighting for me to go to this beautiful school, never realizing exactly what they were fighting for. What was going on in Westminster was not right. 1896. LA Times. We had a judge in Los Angeles called Judge McCormick, who said that separate is never equal. And it had like a ripple effect all over Southern California. The theaters were eventually integrated and housing became easier to move to different areas. And I'll never forget the first day I walked into that school, and this little boy comes up to me and he says, "You're a Mexican. What are you Mexicans doing here? Don't you know that Mexicans don't belong in the school? You're not supposed to be in the school. When that boy said that to me, I felt this pain in my heart like somebody had stabbed me. I felt so hurt, so humiliated that I started crying. And I go home and I tell my mother, Mother, I don't want to be in that school. They don't want us there. They don't want Mexicans there. And my mother said to me, Sylvia, weren't you aware of what we were fighting for all this time? You were there in court every day. Don't you know exactly what we wanted for you? We wanted for you to know that you are just as equal as that boy. That's what we were fighting for you. For you not to feel humiliated, for you not to feel inferior, because under God, you're just as good as he is.
So that's Sylvia Mendez. If you want to learn more, there's an article, and I have it linked in the bottom in these presenter notes about her story and how she helped to integrate schools in Southern California 7 years before Brown versus the Board of Education. So we learn to read closely so that we can take our thoughts, clarify and refine them, and then write them down so that other people can learn from us in turn. So this is about how to use sentence, phrase, word to analyze a text. And like it says here, I'll be filling in the sample on the spot right now as I record this video. A little bit first, here's a description of what sentence, phrase, word is. This is something that, say, a teacher would read. And I think right now it's really important to share that with you because in a very real sense, you are doing a lot of self-teaching and self-learning right now. So the reason for using this is to make meaning from text, as it says, and to capture the essence of the text, right? So we can read something and maybe it's 1 page, maybe it's 20 pages, but whether it's 1 page or 20 page, if somebody asks us, like, what was that all about? It's important to be able to say, like in a very clear and concise, short way, this text was about da 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 da. And sentence, phrase, word is a thinking routine that helps us to do that. So it talks about discussion, and that's why I really want you to do this, to be watching this video on Monday and to engage in the reading on Monday or Tuesday, so that by the time you join one of those live sessions is coming on Wednesday, you can participate in this so that we can learn together and deepen our knowledge. All right, so this is what the sheet looks like. And just like it says, view this doc by clicking here about sentence, phrase, word, and right here as well, sentence, phrase, word. The thinking sheet is right here. Okay, so you can see that's how you're going to get to the link. I have it in another tab, so I'll pull that up in just a moment. But feel free to just kind of like make 3 boxes on a piece of notebook paper and fill it out that way. File, make a copy, or file, download. All right, either of those work, just to go over that little tech bit. So here are some kind of like, I'm hoping, practical tips. 1, consider the definition or meaning of particular words. All right, so that's like, look it up on vocabulary.com. I love their dictionary, use that. Or ponder the connotation. More on that in a moment. What feelings or vibes does a certain word carry? Certain words don't really have like a vibe, don't make you feel something. They're just like, it is what it is. Like, I don't know, like guitar. Well, maybe you feel something if you play guitar, but like, it just is what it is, right? Okay, like cat, dog. But other words kind of give you a flavor and give you a vibe. So if you look at this chart, right, it says, like, here's about connotation. There are certain words that have no connotation, like to say thin. Generally, that just kind of is a description. But if you say slender, that has like a positive sort of feeling to it, like somebody wants to be slender. But if you say skinny, that doesn't sound like something that maybe someone wants to be. Or unusual, okay? Like if something's not usual, right? That's just kind of, you can look up the dictionary definition, it is what it is. But if you say that somebody is extraordinary, or if that was an extraordinary cake, that is definitely positive. We want to be extraordinary. You are extraordinary. But if somebody says, you know what, she's bizarre, that's not really positive. Maybe you could take it that way, but generally, if you're saying like, wow, that dessert was bizarre, that means it's unusual and not in a good way. A bizarre dessert might be a bacon cake with crickets in the frosting, right? That's not usual, but not good. You wouldn't say that's extraordinary. That would be bizarre. Maybe if you made a beautiful, like 4-layer cake with homemade frosting, that's extraordinary. If the frosting had bugs in it, that's bizarre. Okay, so really you can focus in on connotation, and that can make a difference. Another thing is to identify the use of literary devices. If that sticks out in your sentence, phrase, or word, that can be a thing to really note and acknowledge and say, like, what does that mean? What does it mean to say that the author chose to use a simile or a metaphor rather than just say something straight out? Like, why did they make that choice, and how does it affect our understanding? And kind of building on that, how does this word or lit device add to the overall message? Now let's practice with a reading from last week. All right, so here's my sentence phrase word sheet. I've got that in one tab. This is the one you're going to use, and this is the samples, right? Those are the hints I just gave you. And then here is the text that I'm going to use, because we all read that. The other ones you had a choice, but everybody read this invitation to participate. And I've already selected a sentence and a phrase. I was kind of stuck on the word, so we're just going to do this together. Okay. So my sentence that I looked this over just for a couple minutes. I reread it. And this stuck out to me as being really important, because what am I supposed to look for? A sentence that was meaningful to me and helped me gain a deeper understanding. So I think this sentence is important, and I found it meaningful. Never has the need for personal philosophies of this kind been so urgent. So I'm going to copy and paste that into my sheet here. Okay. Maybe I want to reflect on it, right? Because the directions say, after you write down the direct quotes, briefly explain why you selected this and what it means. All right. So let me do that. Let me put my quotation marks. Okay. So now I'm going to not be highlighting. So why was this meaningful? Let's see. Never has the need for personal philosophies of this kind been so urgent. Now, if I look here, I put the definition of the word urgent because I thought it was important. Compelling immediate action. So I'm going to use that like as I'm reflecting on why this sentence is important, because this word is part of what makes this sentence important to me. The word never, need, and urgent, right? That's what I got out of it. So I'm going to say this sentence sticks out to me because the author uses the word never to emphasize that this current moment is different than previous times. In other words, now more than ever, it's important and really valuable, I'll say, to reflect on and express in words the values and beliefs that drive our lives. And then I want to say something about urgent, right? Okay. The word choice urgent, which means compelling immediate action. I'm just going to leave it that size because you know what? It's fine. But I got to put a comma, right? Because I'm going to say the word choice urgent, which means compelling immediate action, again, emphasizes that now is the time for us to reflect. I already said reflect, so I'm going to say express ourselves. Let me make that 12 so it all looks the same. And I got a typo here, so I'm going to fix that. All right, I like that. And you might be wondering, why am I spending this time on this? Well, because this isn't just a worksheet to be a worksheet. It's really a thinking sheet that then I'm going to transfer this thinking into my blog post when it comes to that. So this is all working together. So this stuff right here, if I really think it through, like, bam, That's going to be a paragraph in my next blog post. So that's why I'm doing it. All right. The next one is phrase. Values which rule your thought and action. Because it's a part of this longer sentence. This invites you to make very right? So part of a sentence. Let's see. What word am I going to use? I'm going to use this one. Intimate. Finish this up.